There's a part of you that you've buried, a part you've tried to forget, a part of you that you don't bring into the room when others are around. You lock it behind a smile. You tuck it beneath your ambition. You hide it under politeness, silence, or humor. But even when you don't acknowledge it, it's still there. Waiting to be seen, waiting to be felt, waiting to be loved. We all have pieces of ourselves we push away. Maybe it's the version of you that broke, the you that got hurt, the one that wasn't strong or successful or put together, the version of you that cried too easily, cared too deeply, loved too loudly, or wanted too much. Somewhere along the way, someone taught you that those parts were too much. So you tried to become less emotional, less needy, less sensitive, less vulnerable. You learned how to wear armor instead of skin. You learned how to smile when you were bleeding inside. You learned how to talk about everything except what mattered. But here's the thing. The parts you hide don't disappear, they just grow quiet. They wait in the dark. And no matter how far you run from them, they don't leave you. Because they are you. Not the polished version. Not the curated image. But the real you. The one underneath it all. And at some point, maybe tonight, maybe right now, you feel them knocking. That small ache. That sudden wave of sadness. That flash of old memory you haven't thought about in years. That's the part of you you've been hiding. Asking to be seen. And I know, it's terrifying to face it. Because when you've spent so long trying to forget, remembering feels like drowning. When you've spent years building a version of yourself that looks strong, letting the mask crack feels like failure. When you've taught yourself to numb out, feeling again feels unbearable. But what if the thing you're avoiding is actually the doorway? The doorway to your healing. The doorway to your peace. The doorway to your truth. Because no matter how messy or painful or complicated those hidden parts are, they are still you. And healing doesn't mean erasing them. It means returning to them with gentleness. Sitting beside them instead of silencing them. Looking at them not with judgment, but with compassion. Like a child hiding under the bed, scared, forgotten, waiting for someone to say, "It's okay. You can come out now. You're safe with me." And maybe no one said that to you before. Maybe no one gave you permission to bring your whole self into the light. Maybe you were told, directly or indirectly, that being fully you was not acceptable. So you became what others needed. You became the caretaker, the achiever, the fixer, the quiet one, the strong one, the funny one, the dependable one. You became someone they could love, even if it meant not loving yourself. But tonight, I want to ask you something. What would happen if you stopped hiding? What would happen if you gave yourself permission to feel what you've buried? To speak what you've silenced? To hold the hand of the part of you you've ignored? Maybe you're afraid that if you face it, it'll break you. That you'll fall apart and won't be able to put yourself back together. That people will leave, reject, or abandon you. That you won't like what you see. But what if, and I want you to really feel this, what if what's hiding underneath isn't a monster, but a wound? Not something to be ashamed of, but something that needs care? And what if that part of you, the one you've hidden the longest, is actually the most beautiful, the most honest, the most human part of you? The truth is, you've been holding it all by yourself for too long. That sadness you don't talk about. That anger you feel guilty for. That trauma you downplay. That version of you try to pretend never existed. You don't have to carry them in silence anymore. You can face them. Gently. Slowly. Safely. You can sit with them in the dark and say, you don't have to hide anymore. I see you. I accept you. I'm not ashamed of you. You belong here. Because here's what happens when you stop hiding, you stop fighting yourself. You stop spending all your energy pretending. You stop disconnecting from your own soul. And slowly, something miraculous begins to happen. You feel lighter. You feel more at peace. You stop fearing your reflection. You begin to feel whole, not because you're perfect, but because you're honest. You stop apologizing for being too sensitive. You stop shrinking yourself to keep others comfortable. You stop abandoning yourself for love that costs your truth. And I know, some people might not understand. Some might prefer the version of you that never made waves, never spoke up, never cried too loud or asked for too much. But those are not your people. Because real connection, real love, doesn't ask you to hide. And the first person who needs to give you that love is you. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be met. You don't need to be more like them. You need to be more like you. The you who's still hurting. The you who still dreams. The you who still believes even after everything. So tonight, can we make a quiet agreement? No more hiding. Not from yourself. Not in the dark. Not when you're alone. Let this be the moment you turn toward your pain instead of away from it. Let this be the night you breathe deeper, softer, slower, not because everything is okay, but because you finally gave yourself permission to just be. To show up exactly as you are. You don't need to fix your sadness tonight. You just need to honor that it's there. You don't need to understand your wounds. Just acknowledge that they've shaped you. You don't need to rush your healing. You just need to face it, softly. Because what's hidden doesn't heal. What's buried doesn't disappear. And what's denied doesn't go away. It just waits. And it waits. Until one day, you turn around and say, I see you. I've been afraid of you. But I'm not running anymore. You don't have to know what to do next. You don't need a plan. You just need to sit here, in this moment, with all that you are, and all that you've hidden, and let it be enough. You are enough. Even with the parts you don't show. Even with the versions of you that feel unfinished. Even with the pain you still carry. Even with the mistakes you still hold. You don't need to be healed to be worthy. You don't need to be perfect to be whole. You don't need to be strong to be loved. So please, if your heart is heavy, let it be heavy. If you're tired, let yourself rest. If you're angry, let the fire speak. If you're grieving, let the tears fall. You are allowed to feel it all. You are allowed to face what you've hidden. And no, it might not be pretty. It might be messy, loud, uncomfortable, or scary. But it will be real. And that's where the healing begins. You don't need to go back to who you were. You're not meant to. You're meant to become someone deeper, freer, softer, because you faced yourself instead of abandoning yourself. And the most beautiful thing? The parts of you you've been hiding, once they're seen, stop holding you hostage. They become wisdom. They become clarity. They become your compass. They teach you how to protect your peace, how to love yourself without performance, how to walk through life without pretending. And that is freedom. So tonight, be brave enough to face the part of you you've been hiding. Not to shame it. Not to fix it. Not to silence it. But to love it. Because healing doesn't start with answers, it starts with honesty. It starts with presence. It starts with you. Sitting in the dark. Whispering to the hidden parts. You don't scare me anymore. You are safe with me. And in that moment, you'll feel something shift. Not all at once. Not loudly. But quietly. Like an exhale. Like a weight releasing. Like coming home. Because you stopped hiding. And you started healing.